Do you need help purchasing your car insurance? Head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph/car-insurance. Here, you can compare prices and customize your insurance coverage from many of the Philippines' top providers. When you've selected the insurance that's best for you, simply fill out the application and complete the transaction with ease through Visa, MasterCard, GCash, GrabPay, or PayPal, and receive your policy within the next business day. Get the best deal on insurance with AutoDeal.
Nothing can be more American than your American football game, which just recently ended, by the way, the Super Bowl. Congratulations to the Rams. Congratulations to Gino for winning the bet against me. I hate that guy. Speaking of nothing can be more American, nothing can be more American than this particular automobile, this Ford Explorer, this 2022 Ford Explorer. And we're here at Ford BGC to do a small little walk around with it, perhaps maybe drive it around to get some feel of exactly what the car is, because I know that there's a lot of you guys out there in for this particular car in this particular market. This guy is now up to par with the CX-9 in more ways than one, I tell you. Let's start off first with the engine. Now, the previous generation Explorer had two engine options. One was a V6 and the second was a 2-liter EcoBoost. Now, there is only one engine option available now for the Explorer that is coming to the Philippines, which is a 2.3 EcoBoost mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Oh, it just opened. Wow, that's like super light. Mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. Now, a lot of you guys out there purchased the 2-liter Explorer back in the day and were complaining about its lackluster power. Now, I can tell you that there is much more in this engine now. The previous generation put out about 240 horses and 366 Newton meters of torque, while this 2.3 liter, 2.3, right? 2.3 liter is mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and this guy produces 300 horses and 420 Newton meters of torque. So there's a lot more power where that has come from. Also, I don't know if you can see this because it's all black, but there is a strut bar here up front, which is actually great for automobiles of this size because then it sort of like tapers down the body roll. Some cars actually have the engine bay that has a panel that comes straight across, and other cars like this have a bar that stretches across. So either or really works. So this is the one and only engine option available on the new Explorer. Now, while that is extremely important, is the price, which again also keeps it up to par with the CX-9. The CX-9 is 2,990,000 Philippine pesos. This 2022 model of the Explorer is 2,998,000 Philippine pesos. So just really a difference of 8,000 pesos. And I know what you guys are thinking, comparo, yeah. Let's definitely do that sometime soon, but we just got to get our hands on this unit as soon as possible and not just in the showroom kind of a thing. Let's talk about some of the changes that have happened on the exterior of the automobile. So first up front, the headlamps are all new design. It's blacked out inside. I don't know if you can see that, but it's much darker, and it's an all LED affair. The grille too has now changed. It's a little bit bigger, changed design, and the Ford emblem is now sticks out just a little bit more because all the radar equipment is actually behind that. Down below, you'll find your sensors. There's 4 of them up front, and of course, your fog lamps down below. What I noticed also in the much more previous generation of the Explorer is that there was a small little slat for an intake found here underneath. And I didn't really exactly understand what it was for, but it was actually for the turbo. And that was, it made sense because the colder air is much lower. But it didn't make sense for the Philippines because of our flooded streets. So now that's no longer there, and the intake is quite higher inside. Still as low as possible to make sure that it's cold air coming in, but now much safer. Let's move down the side. You've got polished aluminum 20-inch rims, which I adore, on 55 series tires, and I do believe that they look good. They look great, the design's great. A little too shiny for my taste, but hey, no complaints there on the 20. Looks absolutely great. Then of course you've got repeaters on the side mirror, your roof rails up on top, and a nice garnish found down below. The one thing though that I hoped that there was, maybe because I'm a little bit spoiled, that you find on the F-150 and of course on the Expedition is that there is a retracting stepboard. Unfortunately, with the Explorer, there is none. I understand that it's not necessarily as high, but it is, like I said, I'm feeling a little spoiled, so I just wish that they were there. But that doesn't take anything away from the fact that there is 208 millimeters of ground clearance, which is great. And then, of course, without having to mention, but I will, there are obviously disc brakes all around. So that takes care of the side profile. Why don't you come here to the back? I'll show you what the rear looks like. At the rear, it's really just, it looks like your typical standard Explorer, except that this whole chunk, the rear taillights, have an all-new design. And I gotta tell you, we're probably gonna cut to a B-roll right now, but when these things are on, it's as bright as the sun. I mean, bam! This thing really comes out, because this is an entire LED panel. It's ridiculously bright. It's in the middle of the day. We turned it on for the first time. I thought I was blinded. Probably because I'm not wearing my glasses and I can't see. Other things of worth mentioning back here would be is that you've got a chrome garnish here, a little bit more chrome garnishes down here, and my favorite part of the rear would be twin exhausts. I always love seeing them there. Nothing hidden underneath, you see them there. Now, when we open her up, we don't have the exact specs of the trunk capacity with the rear up. Some people say it's about 350, other people say it's about 400 and even more than that, which probably increases a lot because this is a false bottom, so it can get much deeper to load much taller items. When you fold the power folding third row, which is actually quite awesome, with just a push of a button and it folds down, you're looking at over 1,300. Joey said 1,300? Yeah, over 1,300 liters of space with the third row tucked down. That is actually quite impressive. I'm not gonna jump in there. We've done way too much of that. That will do it for the third row. Why don't you guys meet me inside and we'll check out the interior of the second row. There are bolsters, but not so much that it hinders you from getting in and out of the car in a snap. Now, I wanted to show this. This is not exactly Jack's driving position. This is more than Jack's driving position, and I still have quite a lot of room. And when I say not Jack's driving position, I mean like he's literally stretching his feet to touch the accelerator and the brake pedal. So there is a lot of leg room. Headroom for somebody as tall as myself, you're looking at maybe about 5 inches, 4 inches at most. Comfort-wise, I can move the chair, my seat, forward and back. And it's not a bench, it's like everybody has an individual seat. I can move mine forward and back, so can the passenger on the right. However, the passenger in the center, this is actually a fixed seat. There is no way to move this chair forward or back. But it's comfortable nonetheless because the tunnel is not very high. So 3 average size persons inside this automobile wouldn't be an issue at all. The seats fold flat. They don't tumble over per se, but they do fold flat, if I can just figure out how. But yes, they do fold flat so that it increases the space, obviously, of the trunk capacity of the automobile. Toys back here include a center armrest, obviously with 2 cup holders. Then you've got bottle holders in either door. Not one, but a pair of speakers on each door. Your air vents are found up on top. There's none in the center, or rather up front, because up front is only your air controls and your temperature controls, followed by a charging points and a 230 volt socket. Now, to add a little bit more je ne sais quoi, I don't know what, something to the rear, you've got privacy shades here. But if that makes you feel a little claustrophobic, worry not, because then there's a panoramic sunroof to allow a little bit more light. And that will do it for the toys back here. Comfort-wise, I think it's pretty standard. The leather, I feel, could have been a bit more supple. It's soft, but the touch of the leather itself, the feeling of the leather itself could have been a little bit softer for me, actually, a little richer. Not to say that these stitchings are not nice. Actually, they feel good, but again, they could have been richer. Oh, and the one cool feature, well, it's not actually a cool feature, it's a warm feature, is that the seats back here, if ever you find yourself, I don't know, stuck in Baguio at 4 in the morning in January during Amihan, is that the seats have warmers. You press the buttons here, and your tukas will be nice and toasty. Other than that, I don't really find any use for them inside the city. Okay, so up front, power seats, obviously, power steering wheel. Yeah, no, not power steering wheel. I meant power. You mean you can adjust it with a push of a button, which is actually pretty cool. So getting into your proper driving position is a complete and utter breeze. Toys up here for the driver. Okay, so your instrument cluster is 2 analog gauges flanked by a screen. I would have expected a large digital screen for everything, but I guess we'll make do with the 2 analog gauges. You've got a large infotainment display here. It looks kind of off. Maybe if it were a little bit lower, taking more some of the space down here, might have looked incorporated itself much better in the dashboard. I will note that there's no piano black plastics found here. The only piano black plastics that you can find are up here. What's nice, it's very nice, in between the infotainment display and the piano black is the faux carbon wood here. Actually, it's a very nice touch to it.
Carbon wood?
Carbon wood? No, it's not did I say carbon wood?
Yes, you did.
That's a new term from now on. I want to TM that. Carbon wood. TM. Anyway, to continue, there are lots of cubbies found in the Explorer. You've got 2 cup holders here. An area that looks like you could actually put your cell phone. That's one way to put it, but there's actually a place here for your cell phone back here. Oh, my phone doesn't fit. That's a problem because this is actually the wireless charging. And if my phone doesn't fit, some of the newer phones might not fit either. Open this up. You got a deep cubby hole here. Inside here, you've got your 12-volt socket, around 12-volt socket, and again, a USB and a Type-C, which is similar to the one found in the back. And then a center console with the coin tray and a really deep pocket there. The 8-inch capacitive touchscreen with swipe capability has enhanced voice recognition communications and an entertainment system that has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. No wireless though, but you do have a 12-speaker Bang & Olufsen system, which is very nice. The Ford Explorer also comes with Ford Copilot 360 Assist, which has pre-collision assist with automatic emergency braking and like auto high beams and all of that smart stuff. It also has an intelligent 4-wheel drive terrain management system with 7 drive modes like deep sand, eco, normal, sport, tow, haul, trail, and slippery when wet. And a lot of people will complain about the fact that there is no real shifter, whereas this, it's actually just a knob that you turn. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It actually makes the cabin space look much, much bigger. Oh, and speaking of bigger, no matter how big this car is, moving around tight spots inside the city, I don't know about driving it inside the showroom, but moving around tight spots, the 360-degree camera is obviously a big help. Now, we have been given the opportunity to drive this car very briefly. Maybe we'll take it out on the Skyway just to see how it feels, because I want to know exactly if it comes close to what the driving dynamics is of the Mazda, or since it's a Ford, it's an American car, if it rides completely differently. I won't be able to answer stuff like, does it pull really, really strongly? Because I don't want to get another ticket, and what the fuel consumption figures are. Maybe we can save that for a proper review. But in this time, let's give you just some of the first impressions that I get when we do actually get it out on the road. Shall we? But not this car, because this is the showroom car. We gotta find the test unit. Bring my phone. So the first thing that I noticed driving this Explorer is the steering. It got to me because it's definitely not as light as the other Ford products that we've driven, like the Exped or the Everest. The Everest and the Exped, those guys have really very light steering. This, it's a little bit heavier, which is, it's nice. Now, it's not because the wheels are bigger. These 20-inch wheels can be found on the other Ford products as well, but I feel as if that maybe the electronic steering on this is a little bit tighter, which feels nicer, and it feels like you're more connected to the road. And more connected to the car. Now, speaking more connected to the car, the seats too. See, they're not as comfortable as I thought. Not to say that they're uncomfortable. It's just that I thought that they would be like lazy boy comfortable, because this is, after all, an American automobile. Truth be told, no. It's a little bit firmer, not stiff. It's a little bit firmer, which it's nice, and it's surprising really, because it gives you, you're more attentive, is what I'm saying. You're not as relaxed kind of a thing. You're extremely attentive to the road, and you're engaged with it the whole time. Now, it's not a V6. Nothing is ever going to come close to a V6 other than a V6 itself, or perhaps maybe a V8. But this 2.3 liter inline 4 with the turbo on it, I can't say that I've floored it because, well, I'm going to get my license caught and the traffic's slowly starting to build up. But I can tell you that in the lower gears, as what we're at, when I'm putting it, when I release the accelerator and then I step on it in the short bursts that I do, which I'm doing right now, yeah, there's a nice pull to it, which feels good. But again, it's not as if that we're out on the highway, so I don't know exactly what the legs feel like when we're out on the road. And lastly, out on the road, when you are driving it, there is a question of visibility inside the Explorer, which wasn't so great in the previous generation. This one, it's roughly the same because, well, the hood is a little higher than you'd expect it to be, whether I'm a short driver like myself or a taller driver. It doesn't taper down or dive down as much as you'd expect it to. But the good thing is that regardless of how wide the A-pillars are, it actually doesn't impede your vision that much because, well, they, for some strange reason, wide or not, they taper it in such a manner that you can still see clearly out of it. And it also helps that the side mirrors are not directly connected to the body but are on some form of arm, so it kind of sticks out. Now, that allows a little bit of space on each side, which it really helps. It doesn't do much for your field of vision, but you think it doesn't do much for your field of vision, but it does help a lot, especially of a car of this size. Do I feel as if I'm driving a large car? Not exactly. Maybe because I'm actually used to driving a lot of larger vehicles. But no, it doesn't feel as if you're driving a large car. But when you're driving a CX-9, it also doesn't feel like you're driving a large car. So it's similar to that. Now, there may be an American or two that will say, why are they praising that car so much? Because it's just your average SUV. True. Absolutely correct. It is just your average SUV in the United States. Where in context, most of the SUVs that we have in the Philippines are all ladder frame and have diesel engine. This is much, much quieter, and it's a unibody. So premium, yeah, we do consider it premium on our shores. And just like that, we're stuck in traffic yet again. Ugh. I told you we should have done this at like 4 in the morning. So anyway, this was just a quick walk around and a very, very quick drive of the 2022 Explorer. It's great to see now that the CX-9 does have a little bit of competition, because then it means there are more options for consumers like you and I. However, I'd like to know if you guys think that the Explorer has other competition out there that's locally available. Do hit us up in the comments below, and perhaps maybe, just maybe, we might be able to include it if we ever get to a comparo of this and the CX-9 and whatever else that you guys feel should be part of that comparo. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Stay safe. See you soon.